I think you touched on something really important, and that is about life stress. One of the things that I think we look at as sports psychologists here at Premier Sports Psychology is we use a very holistic approach. What we know is that if you have a lot of life stressors, there's no way you can separate those life stressors from your sport. And a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, I can have a lot of conflict over here or a lot of problems over here and still perform well over here. And my observations on that and all the research that I know that I've been a part of is that you can have individual performances that are very good, but you may not have, you won't have the consistency that you want. And so what we're finding is that athletes that tend to perform at an optimal level tend to start to figure out, how do I create a much more holistic life that is reducing stress from all levels. One thing that I say a lot is that there's no variable that's neutral in sport and high-level elite performance. There's no variable. You're either adding to your performance or you're subtracting from it. And I think a lot of athletes think that, hey, I can go out, do whatever I want to do on the weekends, get, wherever they want to be or whatever they want to do. I can have relationships that are in or out or that create a lot of conflict, and still then go out and perform. And a lot of guys are very talented and they can do that kind of stuff, but are they actually performing to their optimal performance? I would say no. I would say that they have a whole other level that they could get to if they wanted to. An example that I tend to use that's been in the media quite a bit is the example of Tiger Woods. I mean, I think everybody can agree that after he's gone through a very personal and difficult family situation, his performance hasn't been there. Now, there's physical aspects of that, and he's been injured and some of that stuff. But only about 2 years later are we seeing him, and he just won his most recent tournament. But things are settled now. I mean, there's no more conflict. Unfortunately, he's divorced, and he's moved on into a different realm of his life. But things are settled. I think that has a traumatic effect on performance. So one thing that I would say for athletes that are dealing with the stress that your athletes are dealing with is, how do we take a look at all the stressors that they're dealing with, and how can we start to minimize or shorten just a little bit some of those stressors? And how can they find the coping mechanisms to deal with those stressors so that they can reduce it a little bit more, so they have a little bit more energy to go out and provide in practice, to go out and provide in the games, traveling, all that kind of stuff that they're doing. If we can do that, subtle differences can add up to a ton over a season.